Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. What are we reviewing today? Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is a sequel to the Remnant From Ashes game released back in August 2019. And we did review it, and we all pretty much loved it. So let's see what this one's going to be about. So Remnant 2 is a third-person shooter, action, slight role-playing game by Gunfire Games and published by Gearbox. Like I said, it's a sequel to Remnant From the Ashes, which I think Nick was like, hey, I saw this game, looked kind of interesting, we should check it out. And then, boom, we were nose deep in it, and we loved it. It is released on Xbox Series X, S, PS5, PC. It is next gen only. There's no PS4, PS4, Xbox, whatever it was before X. I can't keep track of the namings. But it is a shooter / RPG, got a little melee in there, story-driven action game. So like I said, we love the first one. Let's jump in and find out what everybody thought about the second one. Let's start with Nick, since he brought the original gem to our eye. Let's see what he thinks about the sequel. Nick, what you got?
Yeah, it's good. It's more of what I wanted, which was more of the game. like Shane said, the first one was really good. It's a really fun kind of Souls-like in the difficulty portion, but completely cooperative to play, up to 3 players co-op. The first one was the same as that, procedurally generated environments that change with every time you load into them, and every time you start a new game, every character goes into they could possibly load the same seed, or you could load a completely different one, right? There's RPG elements. It's a shooter and it does have melee, but it's mainly a shooter game. You can mod your weapons and get new weapons, and you have different classes to choose from that range from your standard excuse me, DPS, medic, your tank type classes, to some other kind of hybrid support classes and things like that. And then this one introduces secondary classes, so you can take your primary class and then you can bring another class in later on to kind of make a hybrid class out of that. Which is cool. You can mod your weapons, you can upgrade your weapons, you get level up and you get skill points, which you can put into your different traits and stuff like that. You got new armor and equipment that you can equip on your character. This one, they did get rid of armor modifications, which sucks. I wish that was still there, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, this game is just more of what we loved about the first one, as well as what we didn't like about the first one. So it's kind of more of the same, which is great. There wasn't anything wrong overall with the first game. So to give us more of pretty much the same thing that's fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with the first one. So, give me more of that. And that's pretty much what they've done here. Of course, they've expanded things, they've like a proper sequel. They've added new elements into the game. And, there is more modifications that you can do on weapons and stuff like that. Even though they took the armor mods out, there are more modifications and more things that you can unlock, and bigger environments that have more dungeons and stuff. The first game had that, but they seem to expand it, have expanded that in this one. So it's just more and more of what we came to expect to enjoy about this game. The bad thing is the first game had a lot of jankiness and bugs and glitches and odd things of that nature. And the second one, enjoys those things as well, right? This game is full of odd glitches and bugs, and sometimes things where you can't progress because the game just decides you're done progressing, and or various things of that nature. So there's a lot of oddities that happen in this game, and the first one was that way too. It had a lot of oddities, and they never really got those kinks worked out. And even with the sequel, the kinks are still there, right? But even with the kinks, I mean, you're hard pressed, especially around this time. But overall, I think to find a really great co-op game, I wish it was 4-player co-op, but it's not. It's only 3-player co-op. But I mean, it's hard to find a solid co-op game. We get them very few and far between, and it's nice to have Remnant 2, which is a solid co-op game. It's like one of the best games to play with your friends. You're going to have a really fun time. You can play the game single player, but I think this game is best enjoyed with a couple of buddies going through this game and having a really good time with it. You're going to have lots of fun going through the areas, and with everything procedurally generated and stuff, it's like every time you play, it's like a brand new experience. And that's one thing that makes this game a lot of fun, is you never know what you're going to run into or going to find. And even if a buddy of yours is playing the game single player and they go through the same area, when you go through it with them in the multiplayer, it may be completely different than what they went through. The bosses may be the same, but what happens after the bosses, or what you run into, or how the level's designed may be completely different than what they experienced when they went through, which makes the replayability for this game super high, especially when there's different difficulty tiers. That's what we did with the first one. I remember we played on the easiest difficulty, and then we bumped it up as we continued to progress and get higher in level because it just got too easy. So, and the nice thing is there's so many secrets and oddities in this game. Like, there's so many things to find that the game, just like the first one, does really well of not telling you how to do X, Y, or Z. And that's kind of the fun of it, to figure out, how do I do this? How do I get through this area? How do I find these things? Everything's so well hidden, yet at the same time, it's not, right? You just got to be looking out for it, and you can find all these cool things and these cool features and hidden stuff that's all throughout the game. It's just a fun game overall. But I think it's great, even though it's got its shares of issues. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, it's a really difficult game, but it's one of those ones that, because you have friends in it, can be fun. Because I mean, I played the first one and this one by myself, and while that's fun, you get frustrated at times. You run into an enemy who just stomps you over and over and over, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this down for a while. But with friends, it's, you can put up a little bit more punishment before you decide I'm done for a little while. And what I do like is, like Nick said, everything's procedurally generated. So you may run the map one time, and then when you reload the map for a new campaign or for adventure mode, because it has adventure mode where you can go to whatever biome you want, and then, or you play with a buddy, you're like, the map completely changes, and there's secrets in some map spawns that aren't in others. So that changes too. So it behooves you to do a biome multiple times to find the different secrets and the different enemies and bosses, because some enemies and bosses will spawn in a biome, but they don't always spawn there, right? So, that's the whole point of running it multiple times. Once you beat it and then do an adventure mode, is to level up your character and get different. You may have missed an archetype, because this game introduced archetypes a little bit differently than the other one did, because you can equip 2 archetypes in this one. And I don't believe in the first one you could change out your relic, your dragon heart, but in this one you can change out your relic for different relics that do different things, and then you can add upgrade or mods to the relics. So they've changed some stuff, and I'm with Nick. I don't know what the thought process was behind on not upgrading armor sets. So why can't I upgrade my armor? But what you get in armor is it. It's static. You can't add mods to it. You can't upgrade it. It is what it is. Armor sets are now just light, medium, heavy, and ultra heavy. They come in like 4 different types, and then if you go to heavy or ultra heavy, you go back to the Souls-like movement of fat rolling and stuff like that, and detriment to your stamina. So they've kind of did a few things like that, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, I'm running a heavy set armor now, as I think everybody is. And the fat roll is okay. It does eat a good chunk of stamina when you roll. The stamina bar goes bloop, and you're like, "Ooh, I better not do that too many more times," Or you start to run with the armor on, and your stamina bar just goes, just disappears. You're like, well, I guess I'll put up with it. So it is more of the same, but more of the same stuff that we've enjoyed. So I'm really enjoying the game. Really, there's secrets everywhere. You'll spend hours just looking at something for trying to figure it out, just to find out that you can't do it yet. But you're like, the game doesn't tell you that. It's just like free roam, figure it out on your own, and I like that to some aspect. There's a little bit of mystery to it. And the enemies seem varied. The biomes are definitely varied. And, when we played Nick's game, we hopped into a futuristic, like, space type race, and now we're in a freaking wooded area with like wood creatures and crap. So, that's kind of cool and interesting. So the different biomes offer different types of enemies. So one time you may feel like you're doing an advanced race. The next thing you know, you're in backwoods country fighting woodland creatures and critters off of you, literal critters from Critters the movie. So, I don't know what to say. This game is really good, and my only complaint so far is that it feels like the different armor sets and weapons are slow to come. And that's just because maybe they're just that well hidden in this game and we have yet to find out. Most of the weapons seem to come from, instead of finding them in the wild, you find, which is the other ones are kind of the same way. You find an item and you bring them back to the guy or the girl and they craft a new weapon for you. Cool. Like that. But most of what crafting materials we seem to get so far is just weapon mods. So you take it back to the guy or the girl, take it back to the girl, McCabe in this one, and she crafts an item mod. So you put in your item and it gives your weapon a new attack ability, right? So, but overall, fun game. I'm enjoying it. I'm chomping at the bit to play some more, and I can't wait to play some more. The first one was really difficult. Nick and I beat it. We tried to get Shane to beat it, but the game scales really difficult with 3 players, what the original one did. We'll have to see how this one scales once we get to the final boss in this game to see how bad it is. But what I like is not every boss is just a meat shield, and they don't just suck up bullets and you just got to keep pounding them with bullets. There's some strategy to them, and sometimes the strategy works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get lucky and you just beat them down to where it's just like a little life left and one guy's left standing. Usually that's typically Nick. Nick saves the day while Shane and I are sitting there dead watching him play, but that's the way we always typically play. Nick carries the group. So Nick carries the team. Shane or I just along for the ride usually in these kind of games. The more Souls-like they are, the more we're just riding Nick's coattails through the levels. So,
yep.
But Shane, what do you think?
I run as the tank, but we all know Nick's the tank.
Nick's the tank. Nick's the DPS. He's the guy out in front always.
Yep. He's the Leroy Jenkins of the group. But,
except if Leroy Jenkins always lived in the end.
Oh, that's true. I agree with both these guys. This game is really good. I think the reason I enjoy this game so much is it's not overburdened by overcomplicated mod systems and weapon systems and you guys, I understand, I kind of like the idea of modifying armor sets, but we have all the rings we can use. I believe it's a necklace or a trinket, that does the same thing. It's like the area that I got when I fired the game up on my single player. Basically, it's a fire pit of hell. Everywhere is on fire. So I've got fire protection plus additional fire damage, things like that with my rings. So I'm not as bothered by it, but I definitely understand why you guys would like to have those armor mods back. But I'm not going to complain about it. That's one of the things I like. It's not overcomplicated. It's got enough to it to make your decisions, thought out on how you're going to set up your character. But it's not like I'm going to spend 2 hours trying to, oh my God, okay, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to add this. And if that gives me this and I can do this, I typically just go, all right, this is going to give me this amount of shoot you in the butt and it's going to give me this much save my butt. So I'm good with that. But the classes are really neat. I run as a challenger, which is a tanky dude, lots of damage, and then my sub is the handler. I got a dog. Pat runs with the dog as well, which is nice because especially in single player, that dog is a meat puppet. I mean, I feel bad for my dog, but I just basically I find a ladder, I go up, the dog stays down there and attacks everybody as they come, and I just shoot them because they're all going for my dog. In case you haven't figured that one out, Pat. Yeah, he's a meat puppet, so that works really well for me. And there's just so many different ways you can set up your weapon mods and things like that. That's and like I said, it's not overcomplicated. That's why I like it. I've got a good setup right now. I shoot out a little explosive device that sets out caltraps, and if you get hit with it, you're going in slow mo for like 20 seconds. You're not going to survive that 20 seconds when I'm done with you. So I like that. I like the game. We haven't had a lot of glitchiness to it until yesterday. And then yesterday really kicked our butts. I mean, we locked up, Pat, 2-3 times? And then Nick was able to, it was right after we completed a boss 2 on one of them. Nick was just, this is mine. Me and Pat I got to restart. We're going to lose it all. And that sucks. But it's not been overbearing. So I'll give it enough forgiveness because, in some areas there's a lot going on. And the game is not ugly by any means. It's definitely a nice looking game, but it's not like, Resident Evil quality or anything like that, but it's still a really nice looking game. Good, good lighting and all that stuff. And it's just a great co-op game. And that's what, these two knuckleheads and I really enjoy is a good co-op game. We've been playing a lot of single players lately, Final Fantasy and such. And, those are great games, but it's nice to have one where we can jump in and go, all right, let's go tear something a new hole. And that's what we go do. And I like that. We never really got tired of the last one. We had to move on because we just had, other games to review and things like that. And life gets hectic. So, but there was lots of, we played I believe we got all the DLC in. I don't know if we completed, but I'm pretty sure we got it. But it's a good series. I cannot wait to see what they do with the next iteration, if they make a next iteration. But there are things I would like to see them update a little bit. I'd like to see them put the armor mods back just for these two guys alone. I mean, nobody else needs it, just these two. So let them have it. I think the weapons work really well, but I agree with Pat. It does seem extremely slow to roll out. I've been using these same weapons probably after 2 hours of playtime. I found these and then I'm stuck on them. I've updated them. I've modded them. I can tear a hole from a mile and I can tear a hole from up close. So I'm good with it. I tear a lot of holes in this game. So don't hold that against me.
Storage changed life.
Better them than me. But this is a great game. I couldn't disagree with anything these guys said. And if you have two buddies and you have a fourth one that doesn't show up very often, this is a perfect game for 3 friends. If you got a fourth buddy who comes in randomly, he needs to play the game, but he's got to do it on his own. And then you can just jump in and help him out at times. This is a really solid game, and I highly recommend purchasing it. I believe it's $50 for the base game. So I would definitely worth paying the $50. We bought the collector's edition, which was $70, which is the top tier version of the game. I think that was the top tier, but it was worth it. We only did it because we knew we really liked the first one. So thumbs up for Remnant 2. I know it's fingers, but I couldn't give it 2 thumbs up. Looks weird.
Yeah, we got the Ultimate Edition, which was $70, but the actual Remnant 2 regular non-deluxe version is only $45.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then if you want the deluxe version, I think it's 60, which just comes with some armor stuff and things like that. So, I mean, there is some customization. So don't get us wrong when we say, because I mean, you got 4 ring slots and one neck slot. I mean,
yeah.
Nick likes to make the game extra difficult. I mean, he's wearing rings and a necklace that reduces that he can only have more than 50% of health ever. So he's beating the game with 50% health, and Shane and I are still dying. So, you know, that's what it's all about there. Nick just made it difficult on himself for the sake of being difficult, you know. And here I am clad in
DPS. Gives me higher DPS.
Makes him take more damage, do more damage, but he just can't take as much damage as you used to, which he wasn't using it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. But now he could take more. He couldn't take that much before.
Oh, he can't take any damage. He's the glass cannon of the group. But yeah. So, I mean, I like what they've done for it. You know, even when they've taken away upgrading the armor, I guess I can live with that. And there are sets of armors and guns we just haven't found yet. But, you know, we've also not been able to put as much time into it as we want so far. I mean, we've completed a few biomes and completed a lot of bosses, but we have yet to start into adventure mode on it or anything yet, which typically we'll do adventure mode after we beat the game, just so we can redo some biomes and look for specific weapons or specific archetypes that we've missed, you know, things like that. So I definitely think it's a great game, and it's a definite buy for me. I mean, like we bought the Ultimate Edition just so we could start playing early.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like the first one was, I don't know. I feel like the first one was like a hidden gem. You know, the Remnant doesn't really get talked about too much out there. It doesn't seem like, you know, they tried to make a Remnant like prequel or some like side game that didn't do very well. It was like a action game, like sword and board type game. And that was based off like the world of Remnant. But and I wasn't sure they were going to make a Remnant 2. I was hoping they would. And then, you know, finally they announced Remnant 2, and I really hope this gets more eyes on it and more people playing it, and they continue this series with the Remnant 3 and stuff like that, because I know they've done other stuff with Remnant for the name, you know, trying to make other things with it, but Remnant and Remnant 2, this new one here, is like, I feel like the bread and butter of the Remnant series for them, and they should just keep trucking on with that, right? I mean, you got a hit here, right? I feel like, especially with the first one and now this one, you just keep that ball rolling with the Remnant 3 later on, you know, a few years or so down the line, and just keep that ball rolling with it, because you got a really great game here. Something that we all, you know, I really enjoy the Souls-like games. And like I said, this is not Souls-like in the aspect, but it carries a lot of things, and it carries the difficulty, right? That Souls has, that high difficulty where it's difficult, yet it can be done. And one of the things that we always wanted to find in Elden Ring, we kind of got that, was being able to do it co-op. But the nice thing about Remnant and Remnant 2 is that you can, it's purely, I mean, you get past a little tutorial section that doesn't take long at all. And it tells you right after that, hey, you can start playing co-op now. And then from that point on, you can just play co-op the entire game with your friends. And so it's just a fun game to play with your friends. And it's a great co-op game. So if you're looking for, I mean, it's a great game overall, but it's also a great co-op game. So if you're looking for a great game, it's still fun single player, and you'll still have a lot of fun with it. But if you're looking for you and your friends to have a co-op game to play, I would 100% recommend Remnant 2, and going out and picking it up. Even if you buy the base model, it's only $45. I mean, that's a steal for this game. I mean, really, it's such a great game. And this series needs more eyes on it, I think, because I think Gunfire has made a great game with both of these. And again, like I said, they didn't really flip it upside down, but they just gave us more of what we loved about the first one. So I'm all excited about that. Great, and it wasn't besides the glitchiness and bugs and stuff, it wasn't broke. So you didn't need to fix it. Just give me more of that, right? I just want more of it, and that's what they did with it. So I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's a home run. I mean, it's just a well done game overall. It's one you can jump in and jump out, and it's not quite the difficulty of Dark Souls, I think, because I haven't quit, so it's not quite that difficult. but it's challenging. Like I was telling the guys today, I was sitting here and I'm like, ooh, what is this? I found a castle in the middle of a crap hole. So I went in and I found some interesting things, and then I found a hole in the wall, and I walked in. I fell down to like a basement area, and there's a boss. Boss did not like me walking around his little area and thumped me real quick, and I mean real quick. But I really enjoyed it too, because it's like I discovered all of this stuff, and the way they developed the maps are just fantastic. I love this game. So
Shane often falls into holes with bad guys. It happens quite frequently where Shane's like,
Yep.
I need you guys to come to me now.
Yep.
I fell in the
And
hole.
that's-
There's two bad guys.
and that's not even subtle. I mean, I will find a hole, look in it, fall in it, and there's an a-hole. So I like to look around. So, but this game is fantastic. We would all purchase it again, I believe. And I hope this developer keeps up the good work. I really do, and I hope Gearbox don't ruin them. So keep it up. You guys got anything else you'd like to drop on this? All right,
Pick it up now.
yeah, pick it up, definitely. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about Remnant, the series as a whole. What you think about this game. Do you think we're spot on? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let us know. Definitely give us your feedback, because that's one of our favorite things when we put these videos out. What do people think about it? So besides that, make sure you like, share, hit that subscription notice, all the good stuff that go along with it. Tell your friends, give us a watch, give us a listen, give us a check. And until next time, we'll see you.